All right, I think that I've explained pretty much everything when it comes to the domino effect, or what we should focus on rather than focusing on few, or what our priority should be and how we should be working towards that. But I think people seem to think that something like homelessness should not be prioritized, or socialism does not work, because while some people are working hard, other people could be lazy. But the thing is, this is meant to be the job of the government. There is supposed to be a baseline. Therefore, every citizen in that country, which is Nigeria in this case, they are not meant to experience poverty. That's literally the job of taxes. No matter what, the money should always be used to facilitate the lives of the people. I think we should just go through the list of things that a government is meant to do for the people. The government is responsible for many things, including number one, policies. The government is responsible for developing and implementing policies. I think they do that one perfectly. The government is responsible for drafting laws. Beautiful. Services. The government is responsible for delivering public services such as healthcare, transportation, education, welfare. The government is meant to facilitate all these. We're not to be paying for children to be educated. Everybody benefits from the population of a country being intelligent. The smarter the people, the more innovations. But this is not being facilitated. The government is responsible for certain taxes. They will never fail at that one. For somewhere like the West, there are so many different irrelevant taxes. Just to show that it's not only Africa that corruption exists. There is income tax. Citizens paying tax off their labor should not be done. It should be paying taxes off your yield. The first time people ever paid taxes over their money, it was met with protests. And the only reason why that happened was because wars were at hand. The Americans literally left Europe because of taxation, but now they are one of the highest tax people in the world. The way it should be is that any business that operates in a country is meant to be taxed highly. For example, Americans pay like 45% tax and God asks for 10%. That means you love your government 4 times more than you love God. How does that make any sense? And they're a Christian country. The things that are meant to be highly taxed are businesses, which means for you to have the right to exploit, because that's what businesses are using the citizens as consumers, you should pay. And the business, if it does not benefit the people, the taxes you pay of that business will benefit the people. But they tax them for their yield. They also tax them for the people they pay, and they tax them for whenever they purchase. It should not make any sense. Money should be taxed once. For example, people in America or Europe, they are taxed when they buy things, when they sell things. They are taxed when they are paid. This should be the same money that has passed through you once and should have been taxed once. It's almost like you're a hoe and you have a pimp, and every single time money moves, you must give a cut to the government. And most countries, it's naturally benefiting people. It is being siphoned. The next one. Public spending. The government is responsible for choosing what to spend public money on. In Nigeria's case, there are so many, I could make so many jokes, that buying private jets, feeding it to snakes and elephants, I don't really need to explain to you that one. They're already feeling in that one. National defense. The government is responsible for safeguarding the country's security and sovereignty. I have nothing good to say about that. There's nothing to say about that one. Law and order. The government is responsible for keeping civilians safe by implementing and enforcing laws. We are not safe. I think our judiciary system is already messed up. Our court system is messed up. Anybody can pay and get out. I don't even think when it comes to lawyers, I don't think we should have private lawyers or private legal systems. Everything should be public. Everybody should get the same defense. You should not be the richer people get better defense or the poor people get worse defense. No matter what, you should be defended by the exact same people. And money should not be prioritized. Finding justice should be prioritized. I think the court system should even be a subsidiary of the police system, same as like the fire system. It's just the same way police catches these criminals, then the court system decides what to do with them, then they give them back to the police, essentially the jail system. Human rights. The government is responsible for protecting human rights, including freedom of religion and freedom of speech. International relations. The government is responsible for upholding relations with the other countries, which is the West or the external world I was talking about. Environment. The government is responsible for protecting the environment. Resource distribution. The government is responsible for addressing economic disparities. To me, everything here, there's nothing I can really speak positively on. All I wanted to say is Every single thing that was mentioned here, they are either rights or they are needs that the citizens have. And the last one, resource distribution and public spending. If the government was not corrupt and resources were spent on the people, they understand what will have to suffer. And that would be a loss. They cannot have that. All right, last one. These are the needs and their relations to institutions. The thing about needs is when the bare needs, which are physiological and safety and security needs, are taken care of, people or citizens are allowed to be able to focus on their psychological and self-esteem needs. A lot of people are talking about depression. Everybody is depressed these days. It's because we are in I think a lot of people call it survival mindset. We are focusing on our base needs, and that doesn't give us enough chance to focus on our psychological and our self-esteem needs. Psychological needs are family, intimacy, friendship, sense of connection. Self-esteem needs confidence, achievements, respect from others, uniqueness. The thing I really want to reiterate is that when our base needs are taken care of, we are able to focus on our self-esteem needs. And the most important one here is this achievement. I think a video was even posted. A girl was talking about how most billionaires come from rich families, or their parents gave them money to be able to get to where they are. And a lot of them didn't have to focus on base needs. Therefore, the only thing that was on their minds, achievements, self-confidence, respect from others. So they just wanted to stand out from the crowd. That was their priority. But it seems that it's not every rich person's kid that ends up like this. Some people, if they have instability in their families, they get stuck in the belonging and need for love, psychological needs, which is family, friendship, and intimacy. They get trapped there. So they can't get to the self-esteem aspect, which is achievements and uniqueness and standing out. Government job is to create a baseline to make sure nobody goes below or to get to the point of poverty. It just creates a base which allows people to focus more on standing out and providing, or focuses on their family and reproduction. Some people think that if we had this kind of socialist system, that some people will work hard while other people will be lazy. There's this analogy people give where they say socialism doesn't work because if there was a classroom and a test was given and some read and some didn't read, they will all get average scores. And on the next test, the ones that read wouldn't read, and the ones that didn't read and still got average scores still wouldn't read, and they would fail. The problem with this analogy is, first of all, something like a test wouldn't be classified as a means of production. Therefore, it wouldn't be classified as even private property, something that can be made profit of, like a house, like a company. That wouldn't be classified under a test. Test would be classified under something like personal property, something that is valuable to you, like a degree. Even if it was, the problem with this analogy also is that in a test, for them to figure out that some have stopped working and others never worked at all, the difference between a classroom test and the socialist system would be, for the students that passed, it would take to see the result for them to figure out that, oh, other people are not trying and they get average, so I should therefore not try. But in this system, it will be a baseline. Nobody's allowed to go below. So people who are trying or paying more or being more active would be living above average lives. And people who did not try would be living regular average life. In the analogy, the people who were trying more were punished. But in this system, people who are trying more, they will still be above.